But fighting reality is the most powerless thing you can do, because reality always wins. And the man who's at war with what is will spend his entire life exhausted, frustrated, and defeated. The man with real power doesn't fight reality, he accepts it. He sees what is clearly, without distortion, without denial. And from that clear seeing, he acts effectively. He's not passive. He's not defeated. He's just not wasting energy fighting things he can't control. And that freedom from unnecessary struggle, that's power. Most men are at war with their circumstances. They're fighting what is, demanding it be different, refusing to accept reality. And they think this is strength, but it's not. It's just resistance. And resistance is what keeps you stuck. Real power is the ability to say this is what is and respond from there. Not this shouldn't be happening, not this is unfair, not why is this happening to me? Just this is what is, now what? That acceptance, that refusal to argue with reality, that's where power actually lives. Most men think power is never being affected by anything. Stoicism taken to the extreme. Never showing emotion, never being moved, never letting anything touch you. So they build armor. They suppress emotion. They perform invulnerability. And they think this is strength. But it's not. It's disconnection disguised as control. Real power is being able to feel everything without being controlled by it. It's the capacity to experience emotion fully and still choose your response. It's being moved by life without being destroyed by it. The man who never shows emotion isn't powerful. He's numb. The man who's never affected by anything isn't strong. He's disconnected. The man who can't be moved by anything isn't invulnerable. He's just not present. Real power is presence, being fully here, fully feeling, fully human, and still having the capacity to choose your response instead of being controlled by your reactions. Here's what real power actually costs. It costs you the need to be right. It costs you the need to be in control. It costs you the need to be seen as powerful. It costs you the performance of strength. And most men can't pay that price, because they'd rather look powerful than be powerful. They'd rather perform strength than embody it. They'd rather control everything than accept anything. So they stay weak, not because they lack strength, but because they're chasing the wrong version of power. Real power is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need recognition. It doesn't need control. It doesn't need anything external to validate it. Real power is being so settled in yourself that nothing outside you can shake you. It's being so complete that you don't need achievements to feel valuable. It's being so grounded that vulnerability doesn't threaten you. Real power is the ability to sit with discomfort without medicating it, to accept what is without fighting it, to need people without being destroyed by that need, to feel everything without being controlled by it. Real power is surrender, not control, acceptance, not dominance, presence, not performance. And the moment you understand that, everything you thought you knew about being powerful gets destroyed, because you realize you've been chasing weakness and calling it strength. The hero's journey isn't about becoming powerful in the way you think. It's about discovering that real power was never what you were taught. It's not control, it's surrender. It's not dominance, it's presence. It's not invulnerability. It's the capacity to be vulnerable without breaking.
And the men who understand this, the men who've stopped performing power and started embodying it, they're the ones who actually have it. Quiet, grounded, unmovable. Not because they control everything, but because they need to control nothing. That's real power. And it will destroy everything you thought you knew. If this shattered something in how you think about power, leave a comment with one word: surrender. Next episode: how to build real power when you've spent your life performing fake strength.
Everything you've been taught about power is a lie, and that lie is keeping you weak. You think power is control. You think power is dominance. You think power is making people do what you want, getting what you want, being untouchable. But that's not power. That's fear dressed up as strength. And the men who chase that version of power spend their entire lives grasping at something that leaves them empty, even when they get it. Real power? It's the opposite of everything you think it is. And when you finally understand what it actually is, it will destroy every belief you have about strength, control, and what it means to be powerful. This channel is for the man who stayed strong when no one noticed. The man who carried responsibility quietly and slowly disappeared. Here, strength is questioned, silence is exposed, and the cost of being the strong one is finally spoken out loud. Let me show you what power actually is, and why everything you've been chasing has been making you weaker. Most men think power is the ability to control outcomes, to make things happen, to bend reality to their will, to get what they want when they want it. So they chase control. They micromanage, they manipulate, they force. They try to control their environment, control other people, control every variable. And they think this is power. But it's not. It's fragility disguised as strength. Because the more you need to control, the more powerless you actually are. Real power doesn't need to control anything. Real power is so grounded that nothing external can shake it. Here's what this looks like in practice. The man who needs to control every conversation isn't powerful. He's insecure. The man who needs to dominate every room isn't strong. He's terrified of being irrelevant. The man who needs everyone to see him as powerful is the weakest person there. Because real power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't perform. It doesn't need you to recognize it. It just is. You can see the difference immediately. The man performing power is loud. He interrupts, he dominates, he makes sure everyone knows he's important. And everyone can feel the desperation underneath the performance. But the man with real power is quiet. He doesn't need to prove anything. He doesn't need to control anything. He's just settled in himself. And that settledness, that complete lack of need to prove or control, that's what makes everyone pay attention. Most men think power is never needing anyone. Independence, self-sufficiency, the ability to stand alone. So they refuse help. They carry everything alone. They build walls and call it strength. They isolate themselves and call it power. But that's not power. That's fear of vulnerability disguised as independence. Real power is the ability to be vulnerable without being destroyed by it. It's the capacity to need people and not be threatened by that need. It's the strength to ask for help without feeling weak. The man who says, "I don't need anyone," isn't powerful. He's terrified of dependency. The man who carries everything alone isn't strong. He's afraid of being seen as weak. The man who never asks for help isn't independent.
He's just isolated. Real power is being able to say, "I need help," and meaning it. It's having the strength to be human without apologizing for it. It's understanding that needing people isn't weakness, it's reality. And the men who can't do that, who can't admit need, who can't be vulnerable, they're not powerful. They're just afraid. And fear masquerading as strength is still fear. Most men think power is getting what you want: achievement, success, status, the ability to acquire and accomplish. So they chase goals. They accumulate achievements. They build empires. They collect markers of success. And they think this is power. But it's not. It's just compensation for feeling powerless inside. Because real power isn't getting what you want. Real power is not needing what you don't have. It's being so complete in yourself that external achievements don't determine your worth. The man who needs success to feel powerful isn't powerful. He's dependent on outcomes he can't control. The man who needs status to feel valuable isn't strong. He's fragile. The man who needs achievements to prove his worth doesn't have power. He has a performance he has to maintain. Real power is internal. It's not conditional on external circumstances. It's not something you achieve. It's something you are. Here's the truth that will destroy everything you think about power. Real power is surrender. Not giving